Hey, it's Willie's American Guitars video on used Martin time, isn't it? Yeah, that is. So, we got in a few guitars, and here's something that you might forgot, that these are all pre-2018 Martins that we got in. We've got a really nice Koa top D18. We've got this 2013 D35, and then we've got the 2012 HD28. These are all things that are hard for us to find, and you're going to love them because they're fully depreciated. Here's something for you. In the summer of 2017, Martin did some pretty big changes, and one of the biggest things they did in the summer, they went to the NAMM show, and that's National Association of Music Merchants. They have an early show and a summer show. At the summer show, they released guitars that no longer have 1 11/16. They have a slightly wider 1 12/16. So the skinny neck's 1 11/16. The wider neck is 1 12/16, otherwise known as 1 3/4 nuts. Most of the guitars you see on the wall, the newer guitars, are 1 3/4 nut width. That was what made them famous back in pre-war Martins, are all 1 3/4 nut widths. The difference is about that thick. That's it. That's about a 1/16 of an inch. Can you even see that line from there? I don't know, maybe not, but that is a 1/16 of an inch. And it makes a difference to the neck. But here's something to keep in mind. Even though those pre-war Martins, pre-44 Martins had that wider nut, pre-38 Martins, let's not get too deep into it, but pre-war Martins, generally, all had 1 3/4. All the guitars, all the Martins from the 50s, all the Martins from the 60s, all the Martins from the 70s, all the Martins from the 80s, and all the Martins from the 90s had this nut. And this is because it's made before summer of 2017. This is a 1 11/16 nut. Now we get guys coming in. The smaller neck because they're used to it, because they've played them in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the aughts. Now a D35 was a model they came up with when they were running out of Brazilian rosewood. I know you know this, but I'm going to talk to the rest of the people behind you. 3-piece back, because they had in 1965, they were running out of Brazilian rosewood, but they still had smaller pieces left. And so to tackle that problem, they would glue 3 small pieces of Brazilian until it was just no longer available. So they invented that with the 3 pieces, mostly to save wood. And to save wood, then they discovered that it has a bigger bass response. Who would have thunk? You can tell a D35 right away because it has the white binding. The binding on the edge of the neck, so you know what's on the back. If you see that binding on there, that's a 35. Martin is pretty stoic. They don't go crazy with stuff. They don't change patterns. They don't change the recipe. And the recipe is good, high quality wood, aged correctly, seasoned, and put together right. Everybody copies Martin's bracing. Everybody. Some people get it right, some people don't. This is, again, pre-2018. This is a 2010 HD28. Now, H describes the herringbone trim. I know most of you know this, but I'm here to educate everybody. So the HD describes these little V shapes, herringbone, herring being a fish, so they're small. Herringbone trim, always, whether you're talking about a Collings, a Martin, an Ibanez, means you get scallop bracing. That, if the camera looks there, you can see regular bracing. We won't show you all of them, but they're all scalloped. They're all scooped out. Ever have scalloped potatoes? They're shaved really thin. Get it? Yes. So HD28 means the bracing has been thinned out. What does that do for you? It allows the top to vibrate more. It does. Kind of crowd the sound. It's huge and bold and lots of overtones with that top vibrating like that, pumping out. If there was smoke in here, it would come out in puffs. Some people prefer a non-brace top. You can use heavier strings. It's a little more focused in its tone, and that's what this is, a non-scalloped top. This HD28 is a scallop top. HD28s are the most popular guitar they make, and we just got this one in used, and it's perhaps by the time you see this video it could be gone because these go pretty quick. And we've got it priced right too, and I don't know what that is right now, sorry. So there we go. There's two used things, and then this too is a 2012. And again, anything made before 2018 has a 1 3/4 nut width. It feels, you can feel the difference. You saw that tiny little line at 1/16 of an inch. You can tell. This is a Koa topped limited edition D18 Koa, and you can see the really beautiful grain. Koa is just gorgeous. Koa only grows in the Hawaiian island chain, and it is a unique wood both for tone character. It sounds somewhere in between mahogany and rosewood. It leans more mahogany, and they've been putting mahogany or Koa tops on their guitars since the 30s. They've been putting mahogany tops on the guitars for much longer than that. It's not that unusual, but for those of you in the know, this is kind of a cool guitar. They tend to crack less. So in our environment here in Minnesota, you'll find it's a little more stable as a top. Now this doesn't have the herringbone trim. It's still scalloped. My point was on the HD28s with the herringbone trim, that just means they're always scalloped. It's a nod towards the older guitars, but we won't go there right now. You can find a lot of your D18s. The new D18s are all scalloped. Also, all the new Martins have a 1 3/4 nut. Almost all of them. We do order some, but here we have these three guitars, and they all are the 1 11/16 nut with slightly smaller necks, something you might be used to. And on that note, I'm going to let you go. Again, this is a video of some cool, recently used, high-quality guitars. We put them all through the shop to make sure they're healthy. And y'all call, make an appointment, come in and play these. Play anything you like.